Hello, hello, you have made it to episode 3 of Learn to Crochet here on my channel. I'm Em, and this is a comprehensive series teaching you all about the world of crochet, all the way from the beginning. So far, we went over what supplies you need to buy and how to make a slip knot. So if you still need those things, then I would recommend checking out the playlist and going back and starting from the beginning. But today's video is all about how to hold your hook and your yarn in your hands. That may sound really stupid and simple. Why would a random lady on YouTube need to teach you about how to hold something? But trust me, it really matters. It is so important in the world of crochet. The way that you hold your hook and your yarn in your hands is what controls how evenly tensioned your project is going to be. And it's going to determine how comfortable you are when you are crocheting, which is really, really important. So we're going to talk all about it, and I'm going to let you know what you need to know about holding your yarn and your hook when you're crocheting. But first, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can get monetized here. And make sure to turn on notifications and like this video and leave a comment. Do all the things. Alrighty, so go ahead and make a slip knot. We learned that previously, so I expected you guys to have practiced and be experts at this point. So go ahead, do it now. Boom, magic. If yours doesn't look like this and it doesn't slip open and closed, then please go back and do it again and keep practicing. But once you get the slip knot down, you're ready. You're ready to get started. So there are two main ways to hold onto your hook. There is the pencil grip and the knife grip. If you pick up a pencil or pen you have lying around, take a look at how you are holding onto it. You're holding onto it with your fingers, and it is resting in between your thumb and your pointer finger, unless you hold your pencil really weird, which some people do, but I digress. For the most part, most people will be holding their pencil or pen similarly to this. So this is exactly how you would put your hook into your hand if you're going to be using the pencil grip. You would just take your hook and pick it up like you would a pencil. Most of the work and the guiding of the hook is going to be with your fingers. You're going to be moving your fingers back and forth and going in and out of the stitches. So this grip is really, really good for people that might have wrist pain, or I know my wrist tends to start popping a lot and really bothering me. So sometimes I will switch over to this hold when that happens. And also sometimes this is just more comfortable for people. So this is the pencil grip, and it is exactly how it sounds. You would just pick up the hook like you would a pencil. The second grip is the knife grip. So if you have a knife laying around, or you have something you can pretend is a knife, pick it up and take a look how you hold it. Instead of it being over top of your thumb like this, it'll be underneath your hand and you'll be gripping from the top so that you can cut your food. So put down your knife and pick up your hook in the same way. You'll be holding it from over the top, and the hook will be inside of the palm of your hand like this. With this grip, most of the movement and action is done with your wrist. Instead of guiding with your fingers, you are twisting your wrist back and forth to go into the stitches. So this grip is perfect for people who may have finger joint pain or anything like that. You're strictly doing the action in your wrist and you're rotating your arm like so. I personally use the knife hold most of the time, but if my wrist starts bothering me or I just get tired of holding it the same way, sometimes I just like to change it up randomly. I don't know if anybody else can relate, but for the most part, I do grip my hook this way, but every so often I will switch to the pencil hold. So it's really useful to get accustomed to holding it both ways, because I find that it's really nice to be able to switch back and forth no problem. So pencil hold, you're guiding the hook with your fingers. And the knife hold, you're guiding the hook with the movements of your wrist. So go ahead, try it out, switch back and forth. What feels the most natural to you? What do you gravitate towards? I'm super curious. Alrighty, friends, after you figured out how you want to hold your hook, we're going to bring the yarn into the equation. You should have the slip knot onto your hook. So now you're holding the hook in your right hand or your left hand if you're left-handed. The hook just needs to be in your dominant hand, whatever that may be. And then your yarn is going to be held with your non-dominant hand, so my left hand. I mentioned it briefly before, but holding your yarn is how you tension the yarn. So holding the yarn, tensioning the yarn may be used interchangeably. That is the same thing. So what in the world is tension? Tension is how tightly or loosely your yarn is feeding into your work. Tensioning is so important so that you can have a nice even flow of the yarn as you're working with it, as well as you want to make sure it's not too tight or too loose, because that is going to cause whatever you're working on to be distorted and not have ideal results when you're done. So I have just been making a chain here, and I have been doing it with my normal tension. As you can see, for the most part, each chain is even, and it's still stretchy. It's not too tight, and it's also not too loose. It's just a nice even chain where all of the little V's on here look just about the same size. This is the goal when you're figuring out how to hold your yarn and tension the yarn so that you can work with it. If your tension is too tight, which I'm gonna just really go for it and make it really as tight as I possibly can here, not only is it going to be hard to work into, you see my hook, I'm having trouble pulling it through that loop because it's just so tight. Not only is that going to be frustrating and it's going to be annoying to work with, it's also not going to look the most ideal. As you can see, it's very, very tight here, and it may look okay with the first chain. When you get further into your work, having your first chain or having one row be tighter than the other, that is going to cause your work to curl and distort, and trust me, it is really frustrating, and not all of it can be blocked out at the end. Alternatively, if your tension is way too loose and you're just not really holding the yarn at all, and you're just kind of like haphazardly hooking it through there, you're probably going to have these wide open gaping stitches that are going to be loose and sloppy and uneven. And it might be difficult to grab the yarn. The yarn's going to be rolling all over the place, and I'm trying to grab it with my hook and it's just falling off because it's just loosely there. You tell me, guys, which part of my chain looks the best. You be the judge of that. This is with the normal even tension. This is with the tight tension here. And this is with the loose tension. You tell me, guys, which looks the best. I was doing the exact same thing here, but I was just holding my yarn differently. And look how different the results are. Yes, learning how to hold your hook and your yarn in your hands is super duper important. And I want you to learn it now before you get deep into things so that you go into it with the right knowledge and you can start off strong. I'll tell you right now, when people start crocheting, which I am willing to guess, if you're watching this video, you're probably just getting started crocheting, they tend to gravitate towards the tight tension side. Everybody has a natural tendency in their tension. Some people naturally just crochet very loosely on the loose end, so they have to compensate with how they hold their yarn to make sure to compensate for that natural tendency. And some people hold it really tightly and they have to compensate in the opposite direction to make sure that they are getting a nice even tension, which is our goal. Beginners most of the time, I won't say all of the time, but most of the time gravitate towards the tighter tension. And the reason is because you care and you're trying really hard. I see you there. You're trying so hard and I believe in you and I know you care about this and I know this is important to you. And so you may not realize it, but if you're holding your yarn and your hook right now, you may be tense, you may be stressed, like your shoulders may be up towards your ears, your hand may be sweating and gripping the yarn tightly, and you may not even realize it. Take a deep breath, relax, lower your shoulders, and crochet isn't about holding a death grip on your hook or your yarn. Crochet is about comfortably holding both the yarn and the hook in your hands and making a beautiful, beautiful work of art. Don't worry, I know you guys have not learned how to make a chain yet. I'm going to teach you about it. I am. I'm going to do it. I'm going to teach you about it. But first, I want to teach you how exactly you're going to hold the yarn and wind it through your fingers on your non-dominant hand. With all of that explanation out of the way, this is what you should be seeing in front of you in your hands. You should have your hook, a slip knot on your hook, and your yarn connected to your cake or skein. I am going to show you 3 different ways to hold your yarn today. The first one being the one that is my favorite and what I use. You've already seen me holding the yarn earlier in this video, but I'm going to slow it down and describe to you guys exactly how I do it. Everybody has a different way that they hold the yarn, okay? So you might see another video on YouTube that may show a completely different way. There are probably about 5 million different ways. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm going to show you 3 options. Hopefully one of them resonates with you. If not, I encourage you to keep looking and find something that does. Okay, the way that I like to hold my yarn is wrapping it around my pinky and my pointer finger. All right, so we're going to start by holding our hand out in front of us like this with our fingers spread out. And we have the hook in our dominant hand. I would recommend holding on to the tail kind of next to your hook like this. I would recommend just holding that out of the way so you don't get confused. We're going to hold the working yarn, the piece of yarn that is attached to the rest of your yarn, okay? Hold your hand out, and then you're going to wrap the working yarn up and over top of your pinky like this, okay? Then you're going to take it and wrap it up and over the top of your pointer finger like this. All right, so I'm going to do that again. Up and over the pinky, up and over the pointer finger. This is my favorite way to hold yarn. I find this gives me a really good tension. As you can see, if I open my fingers, the yarn flows, and if I close them, it stops. Open, the yarn is flowing, close them, it stops. I love tensioning the yarn this way. I don't know why, but this is just what works for me. Having it go over both the fingers on the ends of my hand, this just works so well, and it's really comfortable to me and gives me really, really nice control of what I'm doing. One more time, up over the pinky and around and up over the pointer finger. So it should look like this, and then you're ready to start working with your yarn. I like doing it this way. Some people will wrap it up over the pinky and then like around the back side of the pointer finger, and that is completely fine as well. It really doesn't change the outcome that much, but I like wrapping it around my pointer finger so that the yarn is kind of going around 2 fingers. And I just find that grabbing the yarn with my hook when it's around the back side of my pointer finger, I just find that I am the most accurate that way, and it's really comfortable to me. So try it out. Weave the yarn through your fingers and see if this makes sense and if it is comfortable to you. The second way I'm going to show you how to hold your yarn is for people that have the tendency, remember we talked about your tension tendency, for people that have the tendency to crochet really tightly, which is probably a lot of beginners out there. This is a very minimalist way to hold your yarn. All you do, you simply hold your hand out, put the yarn over top of your hand with your hook at the top, and just hold on to it a little bit with your pinky or 2 fingers or 3 or whatever, and then hook it over top of your pointer finger like that. That's it. You literally just kind of hold on to it a little bit and hook it over the top and start crocheting with it that way. I did it this way for a really long time when I first started learning because I did have a very tight tension tendency. So this is fine, completely fine. But I do find that it gives me a little bit less control, obviously, because it's wrapped around less fingers. And my tension might not come out as even. So it might be in the right range. It might be just right and not too tight or too loose, but it also might not be as even and as controlled as maybe some of the other methods. The third and final way I'm going to show you how to hold your yarn in this video is simply by wrapping it around your pointer finger a few times. This can be as many times as you want, whatever feels good, but I would say 2 is probably a good amount. But if you just take your hand, lay it out like this, and take your other hand with your hook and slip knot and just wrap the yarn over top of your pointer finger twice and then hold the yarn this way. This is also a very minimal approach and easy to understand. So try it. If it feels good and it feels like you're in control to you and it's comfortable to you, then use this method. This actually makes me have a very tight tension. So this method is probably useful for people that naturally crochet very loose. If you have a very loose tension tendency, then this method might be best for you, because I feel that the friction of the 2 strands going over my finger really causes the tension to be tighter. And even more so, you can control it by wrapping it a 3rd time. If your tension is just super loose for some reason and you just really need to get that tightened up, then you can go ahead and wrap it a 3rd time. But see, this is almost impossible the friction is just so tight. Like, it's almost impossible for the yarn to flow for me. But again, I am different. You are different than me. And something that works for me is going to be completely different for you. Regardless of which method is your favorite, I just recommend wrapping it around your fingers and pulling the yarn, and practice doing that. Practice closing your hands and stopping the yarn from flowing, and then opening your hands and pull the yarn again. Stop, open, stop, open, stop, open. With this method, if you hold the yarn loosely, it flows, and then if you grab it tightly, it can stop. So it just depends on if you want it to stop, just grab it. If you want it to keep flowing, just let go a little bit. And with the other method, you wrap it around your finger. It's flowing, it's flowing, it's flowing. Stop. It's flowing, it's flowing, it's flowing, it's flowing. Stop. So practice those 3 methods. See what makes sense to you, what is comfortable. And we'll practice them more when we get into making a chain in the next video, and then you'll really get to put these methods to the test. But that's all for today. Hopefully one of these methods resonated with you, and hopefully you've got the slip knot down. You're going to need to know how to do the slip knot to get started with your chain in the next video. So hopefully you have got that down, and if I were to test you on it right now, you would score 100%. That's the goal. Ready to put everything you learned to the test? We're going to make a chain in the next video, and you're going to have to combine everything you've learned so far to get it done. So keep practicing, guys. Keep your head up. You're awesome. You got this. Let's keep going. I'll see you soon. Bye.